that we can bring some help, some hope, and some healing to a world that is full of hurt and harm.
Different places, different backgrounds, different situations, but we've been called to come together to bring healing for our land.
We're going to be talking about relationships and community and generational wealth.
Real Talk, Fairfield, California. His story is so much different from my story but it's all still about what we learned and what we didn't learn, because children live what they learn. Or you can flip it around, children learn what they live. And as myself, coming from a home of a father and a mother that was there, but ended up getting divorced. I pretty much was raised by my mom, but she always raised us with the right stuff to do, and I learned, and one thing I learned from their divorce was that if I ever got married, I would never get divorced, So the story of my child going through 13 years of prison, going back 8 times, I don't have that story of that being incarcerated, but as most parents do when their children go through stuff like that, sometimes we never get a chance to hear from the parents. We hear from the person that was in the situation, but parents are incarcerated at the same time. And my son did 13 years in prison, went back 8 times, got stuck on meth, 6 years. For 6 years, when he got out of prison, 5 minutes from home, and it was nothing but the grace of God that held my wife and I together as we learned through the situations of that situation. And there was a lot of places to say they would help, but there was a lot of people that didn't know how to help. And that's what I think we're here for right now, to be able to open ourselves up and realize it's okay not to know. The Bible tells us my people perish from lack of knowledge. And that's why we get together now. That's why we're doing this podcast now. So because there's parents that need to know that it's okay not to know.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to tell the truth. That's why it's called Real Talk. This is about real talk. We'll be talking about faith and family. We'll be talking about unity and community. We'll be talking about generational health and wealth. That's what we're here for. And we want you guys we want to hear from you of what you got to say, because it's important. So we're just excited to come together. God has brought us all together. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about relationship, building relationships. And God has brought us from different parts of the area, but to come together. We're ordained at this time to be able to do what we're doing. So I just want to hear from Brother Ray about, why are you here, Brother Ray?
Yeah. So Dre, thank you for that again. And a shout out to Jeremiah, for helping us out with really launching.
Yeah, much love to Jeremiah.
Yes, sir.
Giving up for Jeremiah. So excited. We know God it's about relationships. I'm bringing this up. I think pointing out Jeremiah, it's about relationships in our lives, right?
Yes.
And that we, Eric, you talked about that, right? In the right relationships, right?
Yeah.
And being
so important.
And so having this relationship with this God that gives us breath, again, what drives us, again, Raymond, aka Brother Ray, as you know me from, we birthed a company called Generational Wealth Investors. And Generational Wealth Investors is all about family, wealth, and community. How is it that we can support you as your family and extend that family, right, to establish wealth, to lean into being part of the community? And Dre, I appreciate what you was talking about. So for me and for us, it is about relationships and bringing a healthy relationship. My message personally is to bring help, hope, and healing. Right, that's the journey for me, right? And so in a world that's full of hurt and harm, right, I as a person that would perpetuate hurt and harm from the lifestyles of being in unhealthy relationships, I'm choosing today to be in a family. Dre, Eric, Jeremiah, those of you that are listening now, love to lock arms with you, and how it is that we can bring some help, some hope, and some healing to a world that is full of hurt and harm.
Yes, sir.
And so really that's the message, right? So the word hope is an acronym for me, and I learned it from a friend of mine, Kwanzaa Dupiani, when we birthed a program called Raise a Hope program. Hope, H-O-P-E, helping other people escape from the negative self.
Yeah.
And it's about leaning into relationships, healthier relationships, such as you two men and even Jeremiah here recording us, that are choosing to be on a path, an intentional path of bringing help, hope, and healing in the family dynamic, right? We get to choose families that we want to. We are birthed into families, right? Some of us are very highly dysfunctional, and the results of that are what jails, institutions, and some death, right? But by the grace of God, we have breath today. We're here, leaning into wanting to create an environment and space, real talk around family, wealth, and community.
Yes, sir.
So, just kind of a nutshell of really kind of the journey that we're on, and that, yes, in this world full of tragedy, full of hurt and harm, as you know, we're here in the Fairfield, the Matt Garcia Foundation Fairfield Real Talk podcast room. And as many of you know, that we lost our son, Matt, in 2008 at the hands of somebody high on drugs, pointed a gun in his direction, and then a single bullet took his life. And though with that, what's kept us is the promises of God, right?
That's right.
That's what has sustained us. Nothing more, nothing less. The promises of eternity, heaven, the promises of His comfort, right? That He will put the right people, places, and things around us, right? And so anyways, that's the message from me. Is that God has given us a hope that does not disappoint us. Why? Because He has poured out His love into our hearts by the power of the Holy Spirit, right?
Yes,
not in that of ourselves. Right? That's that hope, helping other people escape from the things that bring hurt and harm to a world that we get to bring help, hope, and healing.
Yes, sir.
So, Dre, thank you for that, and that's Eric for being here. You blessed. I know we've served and loved on our community for many years together, and to be really locking arms with you, to be intentional about what it is that we're going to do, right? What responsibility we're taking in the world that we live in today is huge. It's monumental, frankly. I think that this such a time as this, we're taking position to lock arms, to really create a space and create opportunities to help people find freedom in their families, in their wealth, and in their communities.
If I can just speak one time, and we want to let you guys know, we're talking like Brother Ray said, it's not about no religion. This is just what we believe. It's about a relationship. We want to build a relationship. Like myself, through all the stuff we've all been through, God blessed us to be able to have a ministry, outreach, whatever you want to call it, called We Are Never Alone. Because sometimes when you go through stuff by yourself, you feel like you're alone. All right. But when God is saying that when you come together, you have real relationships, you're never alone. Like when Brother Ray is talking about hope, when you have hope, you never feel hopeless. You see what I'm saying? And that's important. And we bring everything together as a collaborative, because maybe you have something to offer to help someone. But all we know now is we have to leave our children with something. We have to leave them with that hope, because there's so much hopelessness out there right now. Everybody has something different they're going through, But if we can come together as one, because listen to this right now. I'm gonna bring you back somewhere now. How many of y'all know the Pledge of Allegiance? What does it say on the Pledge? Do you even know what the Pledge of Allegiance says? Well, let me break it down to you, and hopefully maybe we'll do it every time we do a podcast, because maybe that'll bring, because God has given us a world vision. That means a world vision it's not about a denomination. It's not about one person's way of doing things. It's about us coming together as one nation, because it's a world vision. And let me read the Pledge of Allegiance to you. It says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under who? God. So that means we can't leave God out if it's going to be a success. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That means all. And that's what we come together from different places, different backgrounds, different situations. But we've been called to come together to bring healing for our land. And the only way we can bring healing for our land is to love. Learn how to love each other with no objective but just to love each other. The Bible tells you to love your neighbor as yourself. That's the first commandment. And until we get that together, it's going to be disunity, because there's no community if there's no unity. You all hear that? You can't even spell community without unity. So I'm just going to let
Yeah.
Brother Eric's share.
I just want to share that, and we've been talking about relationships, and let me tell you, this relationship here that we've been building, God, it's been over a decade. I think that we've been, communicating and building this relationship, and so we've come with so many different backgrounds and experiences that we want you to know that we've been through a lot of things, and probably most of you have been through a lot of things, but we got so many stories to share. Brother Dre with what happened with his son, also brother Raymond with his son, myself coming in and out of prison and jails and institutions, and just knowing how to build these right relationships cost us time and effort and failure. And let me tell you, this is not a coincidence. This is just a God divine appointment that we've been able to build these relationships and restore not only ourselves, but we've helped many lives, through the ministry of Never Alone, and through Brother Ray working with the Matt Garcia and Mission Solano here in Fairfield, California, right in Solano County. And there's just so much that we have done, not only in our lives but in our families' lives, because relationship starts in the family, starts with you. And so we're here to teach and help and train those that need to be helped in this area, because we've all got different experiences, and I'm excited to hear within our next podcast what we're going to be talking about: relationships and community and generational wealth. I mean, we got so much stuff that is inside that we've been building throughout the years and over a decade. So I mean, it's going to be amazing, guys, this journey that we're going to take. And just for having the first podcast already, we're just already speaking from our hearts. And again, realness is so genuine today that people don't want just religion. They want the real thing. What's happened in the church? What's happened with your relationships? What's happening in your life that can identify with what you're going through? And one of the things that I've been teaching through Eric's coaching, because I used to teach also men to come off the streets and help them build. One thing is their identity and their purpose and passion in life. So that's what I've been called to, to help my community. And so again, I'm excited to just lock arms with my two brothers here that I believe we have a wealth of information, but wealth without application with that information is going to be void. So we're going to help you not only to develop more information, because God, there's so much information out there that you need to know how to apply it. And that comes from teaching, training, and correcting. So we're going to be talking about all these things as I believe that's going to really help you. So there's going to be such an educational here coming out of this podcast that I'm excited to hear,
Eric, I love it. Great. And again, as men that, like you mentioned, we've been through so many things God's allowed us to accomplish and go through so many things. And to be able to really lock arms and say, hey, you know what, Fairfield, we want to really lean into this real talk with you, and not just talk, right? We want to be about it. We want to be about providing, resources to support you where you're at, right? One is holding up your arms on your journey. And again, Dre, I think you mentioned the family wealth community, being intentional on, what it is. Dre, you going in and out of juvenile hall for 28 years, right? Yes. Significantly. And families that know that struggle, that their child's inside, they're not even understanding that we have the capacity, haven't been in our juvenile hall, haven't been in our foster home, haven't went down that journey myself, understanding the dynamics, right? How is it that we can share? Maybe you're going through that. How can we hold up your arms? How can we spend some time with you to talk and walk through that? And again, the theme that I'm hearing here is about the relationship, right? This right relationship. And again, for me, my testimony is just that I surrender my life to a God I didn't know, at 21 years of age, and today I have a glimpse of him. And by, surrendering to healthier relationships, right, to this God that gives me breath, and leaning into trusting, right, trying to do, as my wife would always share with my children, do the right thing for the right reason. The element that the consistency is having, I'll say this, you don't want me to tell you what your future's like? Show me the 5 closest people around you, right? So being intentional Eric, Dre, Jeremiah, and those other people that are around us, choosing to be intentional with your time, your talents, and your treasures, and
Mhm.
that's really what's manifested, what's been able to sustain, right,
Yeah.
a different lifestyle for us,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we're living life from an eternity perspective instead of this close window of time, right? And trusting that process. So,
Love that. Love
yeah,
that.
again, just to share a little bit more about that. And
Mhm.
again, I know Jeremiah, you're gonna cut this all up and clean it up,
Yeah.
make it nice for us,
Yeah.
help carry the message. But maybe Trey, maybe you want to stop and maybe kind of just go give a bullet point of kind of you.
Think about it is now when we talk real podcasts, real truth podcasts, real live podcasts, wherever we want to call it. I have it down here: realistic, existing, actual, life-changing solutions to me, because we're not just talking about real problems. These are real problems we've been talking about, and people have real problems, but we don't want to just bring up the problems without a solution. So that's why we're talking about family and faith. That's why we're talking about generational wealth and health. That's why we're talking about unity and community. And each time we get on, we'll be hitting one of these subjects. So because we want to not just talk about them, we want to hear from you also, because you might have, what gifting has God given you that you can help the situation? We don't only want to just help you. You might have been through something, you can help someone else. Because I really believe that it's not so much ability, it's availability to be able to help. Because when we talk about this generational wealth and health, I'm excited about Eric and Ray talking about this. There's people out there struggling, and it may seem easy to us, but they're going to tell you when you're asking them, how do you do this? But you got to be willing to, if you don't reveal it, they can't heal it. You see what I'm saying? So that means that if you want them to help you, you got to put everything, all the cards on the line. Like when I go to the juvenile hall, like this, we're never alone. I've been going to juvenile hall for 28 years into the jails and the prison. Why? Because when I went through that with my son, I was devastated. I mean, I've been with my wife 48 years. And when we went through that with my son, we were devastated. And I've got a book coming out now called When Good Is Not God Enough, because we were doing good. We were raising our child good. My son was doing good. But God said back then, he says, you know what? I don't need a good story. I need a God story. And so that means I had to go through some stuff. But we come to find out that good was not God enough, so we needed God during them time. That's my story. I don't know your story. But I know that the Bible does tell us that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. So that's my story. But the main thing we're trying to tell you is we're here to help you, number one, find your purpose, okay? Because you need a purpose. You need a why. Everybody needs a why in their life to exist. Number two is get passionate about it. What are you passionate about? Because without them two, you will never reach your potential. We have a God that's given us great gifts. And if we don't allow him, since he is our maker, it starts with God and it ends with God. So we're not preaching at you. We let you know is it starts with God and it ends with God. So during our journey of life, we need to allow him, when things go wrong, to go to our Father. Just like when our children go through stuff, we want them to be able to come to us, asking us to guide them through this journey. But I'm telling parents right now, you better dig in deep. I'm 63 years old. I'm not expecting a 15-year-old or 20-year-old to get what I get now with God, because they haven't been through what I've been through. But I'm telling them right now is parents, dig in, because our children are depending on us right now. If we leave here right now, what have we left them? We have to leave them something that's more greater than us, and that's God, y'all. So we're about a world vision, y'all. There's another program we have out there with the police right now called SLAP. It's called Stop, Listen, and Pray. We work with the community, we work with the city officials, and we work with the police department. Because that's one thing we have a problem with right now. It's not a problem, but we want to be able to build this community up with our officers. And it's great. We've been going out as a band of believers, going out praying over our city, because of a city that prays together stays together. And we've been doing this for 3 years now, and it's working because we're coming together as one. So I'm excited. I mean, like I said, this is just real podcast. This is real talk podcast. So when we make mistakes, we're not worried about mistakes. We're gonna make mistakes till we leave up out of here. But the thing is, we want to let you guys know is it's not about a denomination. It's about us coming together as one in love. That's the key. So I'm challenging you right now. What are you going through? What kind of gift can you bring to what we're doing right now? Because we want to help Fairfield. We want to help Fairfield to be the best Fairfield it can be. So it can go out into the rest of Solano County. Because it's not just about Fairfield, it's about Solano County, knowing that we are one. Harry.
I love that. I love that, Ray and brother Ray, that he's sharing that we're going to be sharing. Basically, bottom line, we're going to be so real. We're going to share our pain, right? But besides that, right, because we're going to share our pain that we've gone through. Him being at the age that he is, me being at my age that he's been, and the things that we've gone through. But most importantly, we're going to bring solutions of how we made it through life. And that's going to give you some help to probably overcome, because we have different lifestyles and different things that we went through. But we've understand that the kingdom of God has rescued us from our messy mess, right? And we're bringing that pain that we're going to talk about, but with solutions, right? And that's what I'm hearing him talk about, right, Brother
Yes,
Ray?
sir. Yes, sir.
So we're going to talk about just the solutions and how to help you and help your loved ones, right? Because this is about expanding, good relationships with our community. That's what it's about, right? So we want to see you grow. We want to see you expand your family. My motto is, let's see more healthy homes instead of more prisons, right? How can we do that? Yeah. One life at a time.
That's right. That's right.
I love that. Again, so Dre, so what you're saying, here you go, purpose, passion, and potential.
Yes.
Purpose, passion, and potential.
Yes.
So you're telling me that there's a purpose in the circumstances of life, the hurts and the harms in this world that we live in.
That's good.
So that's what you're telling me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I'll summarize it with this. The fact of the matter is, maybe you're listening to this podcast right now, right, for the first time. Just a quick introduction to Real Talk Fairfield. But it's not about, geographical parameters, right? It's about this message that's catching your attention right now, right? Yeah, there is purpose in the circumstances that you found yourself in, right?
Yeah.
That you've encountered, that you've walked through in this life.
Yes, sir.
The reality is that we have won 100% of the time of those circumstances, right? Because we're here today at this moment. And
that's right.
That individual that's listening to this message right now, finding that clarity, right? That those circumstances have allowed you to be at the point in your life who you are right now. Right. And that with that, there are great and unsearchable things that you can't even think of or imagine as you lean into, Dre, what you said, purpose for that.
Yes.
And passion will be manifested out of that.
Yeah.
And what will happen is the potential, what is in front of you.
Yes, sir.
Allowing us to lock arms, hold your arms up as you're wanting to walk through finding out what that purpose is, leaning into that passion to see what that potential is.
Yes,
and I love, it is about healthy homes.
Yes, sir.
I want to share something that as you're speaking that, it's just, I'm just can't hearing this word for you out there, but I keep hearing that word, that has just been embedded in my heart more and more. But it's not what happened to you, but it's what happened for you, right? Yes, and I think that's what you got to embrace. This happened for me for a reason. Everything that we've gone through is for us, not what happened to me. Because if you become a victim of what happened to me, then you become mad at society, become unforgiving, and you build this animosity within you, and it's become stressful. It becomes something that can build stumbling blocks in your life that happened to my life. But today, I say this: all this happened for me for a good reason, because God's got a purpose and a plan for you. And so I want to share and elaborate with what Brother Ray is saying and what Brother Andre is saying, because there's some key points here that I want you to see and pick up, because God's for you, and we want to let you know how God has developed us in our lives, and how we want to share this message, because God's got a purpose and a plan for you. And the more you hear it, the more faith you're going to build to understand and get revelation, so you can put that application that we're talking about.
Can I just touch one thing now?
Absolutely, brother.
And the Bible tells you that when trouble comes, remember now, there's something out there right now. There's two fears out there. Society has two fears. People have a trouble with fear of success and fear of failure. You see, sometimes we have fear of failure because we've tried it before and it didn't work. We tried to do it and it doesn't work. And then sometimes people have fear of success because once I know the truth and I know better, now I'm accountable to the truth I just heard, if that makes any sense. So we have to get to a point of realizing the bottom line is when you're going through something, like our program says, we are never alone. The enemy wants you to get you alone, feeling like you can't make it. But when you get around other brothers and sisters in the community and say, I'm connected with a brother with mental health and I don't do mental health, I want you to be able to come along and say, you know what? I don't know nothing about that much about mental health, but my brother does. Or if somebody's going through struggling with their wealth, they're having a hard time making money, or they're having a hard time building their wealth up. That's not my area. I'm learning myself. That's why I say, maybe it's time for you to talk to Brother Ray, or Brother Eric. That's not my area. I've been through what I've been through, and we're available. But we're here to support each other. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
You're that mother out there that your child's going through something. Intervention. That's what we're called. Intervention prevention. We don't want to wait. We want to stop the recidivism of children going to jail, going to prison, going like Pastor Eric was saying, that's what he grew up on. So we want to change that now.
Yeah.
Because the way the children are right now, we have to take responsibility as parents.
Yeah.
And say it might not have been personally your fault, but it is. We dropped the ball somewhere because we keep leaving out God.
Yep.
And the Bible says it's impossible to have faith. You cannot see God without faith. You got to have some kind of faith. And faith, what is faith? Believing in something you cannot see. So we're not expecting you to really see what we're saying, but just listen, because we're asking for your help. We're asking for your help to help us on this journey for what we're trying to do for Fairfield, California.
Can I share something? And I know that it's going to take time because, this is our first time here, but we want to build that relationship with our audience so that you can trust us and start asking us in the comments questions like, hey, this or that, or and we want to bring those questions up in our next podcast so that that way we can help you answer the questions. And you know what? We're not afraid to say, hey, you know what? We can't help you there because we don't know that answer. We want to be so transparent and so real that we want to help you with what we can, right?
Yeah.
So, Brother Ray.
Yeah, again, so just parting words. Again, our message is to bring just that a culture. It's an ecclesia culture, if you will, where people, can live a life, that is conducive to where there's peace, right? What the peace that you're talking about, the purpose, the passion, the potential, there's a peace, right? There's a peace that passes all understanding, that just guard our hearts but our minds, right? And that can happen when you're amongst a community, a culture where you're enough, you're accepted for who you are, right? Allowing yourself to be on this journey, right, that we're all on, right? And so that's really the message. So and it's about relationships, period. No more, no less. Being in right relationships. When you have this right belief system, this right relationship, this right understanding of this God, this creator that gives us breath today, there's peace, right? This tremendous peace of understanding that. And that's why I just emphasize on this point. Look, 100% of the times in your life, you have won. Why? And that's authenticated by the very fact you're listening to this now.
Yeah.
Right? And here we go. Look, you're enough for God. This creator, this God that gives us breath at this moment has authenticated that you're enough. Dre didn't give it. Pastor Eric didn't give it. I didn't give it to you. This God that spoke in the limitless galaxies left into existence, hung the stars and called them by name, allows our solar system, our atmosphere, and our stratosphere to exist at this very moment, allows you to have that breath. Right? You're enough. It's not about terminology. It's not anything other than leaning into knowing 100% of the times and circumstances you've been in life, you've won. because you're at this moment right now. It's in your responsibility, our responsibility, to lean into the relationships to help massage and mature what it is, you said, what that purpose is.
Love it.
Understanding that passion to see what the potential of what it is that God has for you. Hence the peace that guides that all. So again, so we're here, Real Talk, Fairfield, California, with Dre for Christ, Pastor Eric Jeremiah hosting us and helping us with creating this video and this audio to really launch this message of hope, really. And it's about relationships in the areas of that your journey, you're on in your journey, right? The struggles, the pain in family, the pain in wealth, the pain in community, right? I know, Dre, you have a attached word that goes with all those. You can't, right? You said you can't spell a community without unity.
No.
I love that, and so that's the message again. So thanks for tuning in here with us, and we pray God's peace and His purpose on you as we actually will get you on the flip side.
So if I can leave you with just one thing, a couple words. Collaboration opens doors. We need you. If you're part of Fairfield and you say you're part of Fairfield, join us in this venture. This is something new, y'all. So we're looking forward to you. We don't have all the answers. Maybe you have some answers. Help us help you.
So yeah, here we go. Fantastic. Again, Real Talk Fairfield. Follow us on Real Talk Fairfield on YouTube and on our social media sites. You'll see that. We're going to stop promoting that. So again, from us here at Real Talk Fairfield in the Matt Garcia Foundation podcast room, we want to thank you for listening in. Again, please follow us on Real Talk Fairfield on all your major social media channels. God's peace and His purpose.
Blessings on you.
Much love.